Alright, so let's go through what the actual sales process is. So we've got an MQL getting fed into the system, right? And it's being converted to an opportunity now. So the first stage is to qualify and discover. So what does that involve? Okay, so firstly the actual qualification call actually kind of it blurs. It's a blur between the end of the lead process and the start of the sales process. Because MQLs come in, they have to be sales qualified before they become an opportunity. So that's why there is a blur between the two processes, as there should be, right? So that's why qualify is still part of that stage. So one of the things you do is price the opportunity. Right? So obviously very important. You want to be pricing what you believe as a salesperson you can get out of that deal. Obviously critical to the pipeline and the forecasting. You also want to be, you're also going to make as a salesperson, you're going to make a bid or no bid decision. Right? So this is where you as a salesperson go, this is worth my time or it is not worth my time. Right? And obviously that's actually a call that's made before the sales manager is not involved in that bid or no bid. That is the salesperson's prerogative. So reasons you might not bid on it is that it could be too small. It could be a very shaky opportunity. It doesn't hit enough qualification, or you just believe it's a waste of time and you have more in the pipeline that this one is not worth bidding for. So when I say bid, I'm talking about the steps that require a bid is a proposal, and it's all the steps required to get that proposal out in the end, which is quite time consuming. So in the interest of, back to what we were talking about, it's all about filtering deals and minimizing the sales cycle. But this is more filtering. This is the first filter step. Do we bid or no bid? Right? The other thing you'll do at this stage is obviously, the qualification call. So you'll do the qualification call, and obviously that's the sales as opposed to marketing. The other thing is you will also send what we call a champion email. So what is a champion email? It's a pretty critical part of this process. Champion email is an email that's sent to the client which lays out everything discovered in the lead and in this stage. So you'll talk about what goals did they talk about, what they're trying to achieve, what they've talked about in terms of their database criteria. All the details you have is summarized in a standard template, champion email, that you obviously fill in all the details. This email goes out to the customer for their confirmation that yes, it basically double checks that you've actually understood this. And there's a lot of times I've sent out these emails myself and the customer's read it and gone back to no, actually this point's incorrect. So it's important for a communication step between the customer and yourself. But why it's called a champion email is because it must be approved by your sales manager. The other things you want to find out is competition. Competition is important. You want to know who you're bidding against. What are the alternatives? What are the other options? You want to find what the compelling event is. So it's all great to have timing, and you may get that from the MQL or your own call, but you must understand what the compelling event is. What happens if they don't do this? And if the answer is nothing, then you have no compelling event, and you have a good reason that this could be a reason that you do not bid. Simply because deals with no compelling event, well, there's absolutely no urgency for them to convert. So you may keep it in your pipeline, but it could be forecast months and months in advance, as opposed to forecasting in this quarter. Compelling event is all about that, and I cover that in the general sales training. Okay, what else do you need? And obviously, like I said, in the champion email, you're confirming the funding, the fit, the goal, all the BAMP requirements. Okay, so now what happens in the next stage, which is lead and control. So when I say lead and control, this emphasizes, the very name emphasizes the salesperson should be trying to control the deal, not just watching it go by. You know, a lot of salespeople do that, they just watch it go by and they report back. They're like spectators, they go, oh okay, this is happening now, or this is happening now, but that's not the point. You're trying to lead and control that deal. So what happens in lead and control? The first thing, most important, is the sales manager approves it. Now, they will not go over the whole history of the lead and this stage. All they will do is read your champion email. That's why the champion email must have everything in there. They will read through the champion email and they will make a decision whether you bid or no bid. Obviously there's consultation between the salesperson and the sales manager, but that is the ultimate approval for whether we continue or not is this one here. And obviously, you know, they have to have a good reason if they're going to kill it there. But generally speaking, this allows, it's a sanity check, right? Because as a salesperson, especially if you're an inexperienced salesperson in this particular, you know, a service, is that there's things you don't pick up. Like for example, that lead that came in from Hong Kong. The sales manager with a lot of experience will realize, you know, there's a lot of problems around renting lists in Hong Kong, which means lead generation becomes quite complicated. So it's things like that. That's where you leverage the expertise of a sales manager in an efficient way. They read the champion email and they'll raise all the problems with you. You know, they'll let you know all the problems with this deal. So it may require going back and doing, so they might deny it. You might go back and do some more discovery, you know, doing some more discovery, and then you may send another champion email, which then the sales manager approves. So this is a way of controlling the deal. The manager never has to be across all of this, right? Which is impossible because there's so much back and forth happening. All they do is they look at that champion email and make a decision, yes or no, and they give you feedback as to why and what you need to discover before this can move forward. So that's the critical sort of stage before this whole stage begins. Let's say it's approved. The other thing is the campaign criteria set. So the campaign criteria is essentially all the data you need to, like if they, for example, most of the campaigns are based around a database. And this could also be called database criteria. Right? So it's a criteria you need to then go out and get counts and just realize that is it even feasible as a campaign? Because there's a lot of back and forth in that. And that's where you get to build a relationship. You know, before the proposal ever goes out, this is where you have opportunities to sell, to give the value, to let the customer know the value of your company before a proposal comes, which is later down. Right? So it's a lot of, you've got to really leverage this as a salesperson, because that will require 3, 4, maybe 5 different phone conversations, and it's a really good time to build value. Whereas if you're a poor salesperson, you'll just send those emails, do those calls, but not actually use them to build value. So it's a good opportunity. All right, obviously you'll be getting, you may be getting quotes from partners. You know, for example, database providers, you'll be getting quotes on those lists, that kind of stuff, or from partners if they're doing channel or anything like that. So getting quotes is important. Like I said before, you're building value, right? You're building value, you're positioning as well. It's preparing you so that when that proposal goes out, you'll have less resistance because you've actually built value. Okay, so the next step is the bid. So the bid stage, what happens is you present the proposal. So obviously here you've built the proposal as well. So let's say built proposal. proposal? Well, I should say that you present proposal implies that you're creating a proposal in this, right? And when I say present, I mean present. We do not send proposals out without presenting. So either in person or on the phone, it must be presented. There's absolutely no point. You've absolutely wasted all your time if you send a proposal out by email and you don't have a conversation while they're eyeballing it. That's absolutely critical, because that is when you can handle whatever objections they come up with. You have to present a proposal, and preferably in person, right? And that's just another opportunity to actually get a face-to-face time. So maybe up to here they haven't wanted to meet you at all. They're like, no, I don't want to meet you, don't want to meet you, don't have time. You present the proposal, and that's it. You insist on that, right? You just say, this is part of our sales process is that I have to present this to you. We don't send proposals via email. And if they say, look, absolutely not, I don't have time to meet, then you say, okay, well, look, let's book a time on the phone and let's do it over the phone. But there's just no proposals that go out without the presenting happening. And look, this is standard in enterprise sales. Like, you imagine you're sending this big a proposal for a project that might cost 7 million. Do you really think they just go throw it out? No, hell no. There's like a proposal that goes all day. There's people presenting. It's like a whole discourse, and because it sets up for the negotiation. And that's the same kind of style. It doesn't have to be obviously that involved, but you need to present a proposal. There's a reason why in enterprise sale you don't throw it on the table. Same thing with this. Okay, the other thing is, part of this, after you've presented the proposal, you must get the customer to define the decision process. And timing, right? So you don't just go, oh, okay, I've presented the proposal, great, let's leave it at that. Just get back to me when you want. No way. Part of this is to say, okay, when are you going to get back to me? What process are you going to take to decide? Do you have to wait for other competing quotes to come in? Is it going to be you just making a decision? Do you need to involve your boss? When is that going to happen? Is that going to happen next week? Okay, so and then you have to actually put this in an email. Like, after that phone conversation, you must put it in an email that says, okay, according to you, you have to first meet your boss on the 20th, and then after that, you'll pretty much the day later, you'll be able to make a decision on the proposal. So that's the 21st. So I'll be giving you a call the next day, or the 21st and 22nd, to see how it went and to discuss, if there's anything necessary to be done. That is essential. I'll tell you why. Because if you don't define this, number one, you don't have the understanding as a sales guy as to when this is going to close. Number two, if things slip, and things inevitably slip, say for example, if that person couldn't meet their boss on the 20th but pushed out 2 days, it's okay. Now you know that now, because of the process, the close date has to be advanced 2 days ahead, right? Or maybe a week, right? You have an idea of how events happening or not happening affect the timeline, because you've defined the process and it's been agreed on with the customer. The other thing is it's a tool. It's a leverage tool, right? You can email them back and go, oh, so today you're supposed to meet with your boss. What happened? Oh, okay, no, we didn't meet. Okay, so why is that? Why didn't you meet? Oh, it's been pushed back. It's a tool that allows you to chase them up, right? So then a week later you can say, oh, okay, so you said that you would talk to your boss on the Tuesday because it got pushed out. What, did you meet with him? No, I didn't. So, well, hang on, you said that in your email that you would, so what's happening here? Eventually, once it starts to slip a certain amount of time past their own process, because remember, this is a process they've defined to you. If it slips past a certain amount of time, then you've lost this deal. You've lost it. You may not know it, but you've lost it. If they can't stick to their own decision process and timing, you've lost the deal. But unless you have it recorded somewhere, you won't even remember in a month when you look back over the deal, you go, shit, well, what happened to that deal? You look back, you look at the timing, you go, well, obviously they never stuck to their timing, so this deal's lost, and that's why you need it. Right. So that's the bid. The next bit is the negotiation and close. And by the way, a lot of these steps can happen very quickly. This could be like an hour and one conversation. They're not extended processes, but they must be followed. And the CRM will force you to follow these, simply because it's an audit trail for what happens. And it's good selling practice. You know, all of these steps are there for a reason. There's no step that's there just for fun. They're absolutely they're all there to maximize revenue coming out of pipe. Okay, so what do you do to negotiate and close? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's going to be back and forth. And the reason why I say negotiate, we give you tools for negotiation. We'll give you the common objections and how to handle them. So we have tools around that. Then this will be, once you've closed it, it'll be the transition to the ops, to the operational team. So that's included in negotiate and close. And obviously they'll sign contract, and get PO. All the commercials around it, they're usually not onerous for these kind of deals. You may have to go back and forth, with revised clauses in the proposal. So that will, that's a certain back and forth time. There is a certain time that will take. And that's in a nutshell the sales process. So do you have any questions about that?
No.
Straightforward?
Straightforward.
Okay, excellent.